What's up, YouTube? Please like and subscribe. This is Kyle Graves live with some fresh and fit news, some breaking fresh and fit news. It's one of the most popular channels on YouTube to date right now. They're like a Howard Stern style channel. If you've ever watched them, or if you've never watched them, that's who they kind of are. Here's a picture of one of their podcasts here. That they had millions of followers. They're making a ton of money. They're driving, Lamborghinis and stuff in their intro. And YouTube just demonetized them, and it's shocking the YouTube world. And I've watched them a few times over the last year or two. And so they have gone, what YouTube has done by demonetizing them is that they basically, even, they're making, gosh, who knows how much they're making, but hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, especially to be able to be driving around in Lamborghinis or whatnot, and their very nice studio. And, you look at me right now, I'm just, a laptop and a microphone. But they have basically been demoted by their demonetization to where they can't make money off of YouTube, to where they basically have to start from scratch all over again. That they'll eventually be able to most likely get another YouTube channel, but they'll have to start over. But they already have an audience of millions of people, so whenever they do get back on YouTube, they'll be able to build their audience up within a week or so. It'll be back to where it is. But people are saying that, what if YouTube doesn't bring them back to where they can create videos on YouTube, but they wouldn't be able to monetize them to make money, to where that they're living a very lavish lifestyle. And it seems like a lot of people today are wanting to be Howard Stern or Larry King, and because it's fun. And I compare Fresh and Fit to Howard Stern because that's who they reminded me of back in the day on the E channel. And it's not the Howard Stern. If you're go back and watch some YouTube videos of Howard Stern with Beetlejuice and Artie Lang. They would bring in a bunch of, Howard Stern would bring in, he was incredibly successful. He had the only show, the only platform like that at its time, and that's why he is the standard still to this day, even though he hasn't been on the Entertainment E channel in, gosh, probably 25 years, since like the late 90s, or maybe like right at 2000. But, Howard Stern was the first type of shock jock out there. And now there's thousands of them. And Howard Stern, because he was the only one that was on a major news network. He was getting, Playboy of the Month, Playmate, the Playboy Playmate of the Month to come on his show. And you see, they're Fresh and Fit. They're trying to do that. But they're not on Howard Stern's level, as you see these gorditas that they have on the show there. But they're like a low time, a lower tier section of, version of Howard Stern. But their commentary, because it's on YouTube, was way more risque than what Howard Stern could have gotten away with on the E Entertainment Network. It's a rated R show where women are talking about their body count and their basically their sexual escapades on this show. except the women aren't as attractive as what were on Howard Stern's show. And it's down in Miami, so there's just like a ton of people and that live in that party lifestyle. So basically it was promoting the party scene, the club scene, living lavish. They're driving around, they're making so much money, they're driving around in like Bentleys and Ferraris. So they're just, whether it was a reality or an illusion, from the perception of their show was that they were millionaires. And we're finding out this might not be the case, that they might not have been as rich as what they were leading on to be. And so that they were, hurt pretty badly by getting demonetized. And even, someone like me, low time, bottom of the barrel right now, I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet. By the way, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. For them to have to come back down to my level where I'm at right now hurts their feelings, because they were so big time. But because they have such a great audience, a big audience, they will be able to bounce back basically immediately, because millions of people watch them on a daily basis. But the issue is that, will YouTube bring them back? Now, another channel that I watch is the notorious Greg Adams. Shout out to the Coach Gang. He does another edutainment show. And really, Coach Greg Adams kind of inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. I mean, I've had a YouTube channel since the creation of YouTube, basically. But I haven't published, or I haven't posted videos like this. But Greg Adams really inspired me from his story of, basically being homeless to where now he's a success on YouTube. So I was just like, well, shoot, I already have all this stuff here in my apartment. I might as well start up my own channel too, try to be like Coach Gang. But as I started watching Coach Gang, other videos of the same genre, of the, manosphere, red pill genre, started popping up in my feed, and one of them was Fresh and Fit. And they have way more subscribers, hundreds of thousands of more subscribers than CGA, Coach Greg Adams. And like I said, I watched them a couple times, and like I said, I got the Howard Stern vibe that that's what they were doing, that's what they were pulling off down there in Miami. It just seemed like that their content kept getting racier and racier, that they were, pushing the envelope, I guess, of, the boundaries of YouTube's possibly ethics, that they were basically degrading all of the women that that would come on their show. And the women most of them have their own YouTube channels as well, and they're coming on their show knowing that they're going to get humiliated in some form or fashion. But they would go on their show anyway, because it was such a great platform that they would have, millions of YouTube subscribers, or millions of people on YouTube would be watching them, so it would boost up their own channel just from being on Fresh and Fit. Some of the videos that I saw recently that might have led them to be getting demonetized was some, racial, they're, throwing some racial slurs around. You can kind of fill in the blank, because YouTube, there's really not a censorship thing. You can say basically whatever you want. So they had been getting away with this for years. But then you bring on certain women, and then certain men, for that matter, throwing around racial slurs and doing it on a regular basis, to where maybe people started to complain, or YouTube picked up on it. And so this, Howard Stern style show, really it was way more raunchier than Howard Stern in a way. Howard Stern was raunchy compared to, late 90s, early 2000s, that it was shocking, the stuff that Howard Stern was doing back in the late 90s. But, on YouTube today, that's basically, Howard Stern was basically like the Disney Channel in comparison to some of these other channels that are popular on YouTube today. The line has been crossed of ethics or whatnot so many times that it's pushed all the way over to where you could, short of pornography, that you could basically, you have a platform on YouTube, and they did for years, but apparently just it had gone with their commentary like this last week or so with guests that were on. And apparently there was some guy named Fuentes that was on there who was people are calling him a white supremacist that was on their show. And, maybe that they were, bashing African Americans or black women who were on the show, being ridiculed and demeaned in certain ways. And this is a, kind of a wake-up call for YouTube, because this was one of the most popular channels on YouTube. Like I said, they're probably not, like I said, over 1 million subscribers. They're not Mr. Beast or anything. But as far as talk shows go, it was one of the most popular. And like I said, I've only watched it a few times. But the fact that they've been demonetized is, says a lot. That, YouTube says it doesn't matter if you're generating hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for their channel, that, they're good on it. YouTube's got enough money that they don't. YouTube's basically saying that they don't need Fresh and Fit, but Fresh and Fit needs them. Fresh and Fit needs YouTube, not the other way around. Is basically, I think, what this is about. And Coach Greg Adams, who's one of my favorite content creators in the edutainment realm, he said that he had been demonetized 8 times, I believe, and he's been able to come back, and they'll be able to go through a process to get their monetization back. They might have to start a channel, another name or whatnot, tweak the name. But Coach Greg Adams hadn't done anything as severe as some of the guests and some of their commentary that was on Fresh and Fit. Not that I've watched from his anyway, and I watch him fairly regularly. This is big for YouTube right now, for YouTube content creators, especially for a small fish like me, who are trying to get their YouTube channel going, and being in the wake of this, that it's spread all throughout YouTube. Thousands of people are posting their comments and reactions to Fresh and Fit getting demonetized. And really, that's, you can say basically whatever you want, but there's a fine line, and it seems like each year it keeps getting pushed back. And then now YouTube apparently is drawing the line of what you cannot say and what you cannot do on their platform. And and I've noticed that a lot of content creators have left YouTube and gone to other streaming sites, and maybe that's what Fresh and Fit does. Maybe that's what they have to do. I wouldn't want to do that personally. I mean, I think YouTube is the standard, the gold standard of streaming websites, and I would not personally want to stream on any other website besides YouTube. I certainly don't want to get demonetized, or even though I haven't reached 1,000 subscribers yet, I will someday. And I want to follow the guidelines and the rules to not get demonetized. And so this is a learning experience for all of YouTube, and for Fresh and Fit as well. And they'll be okay. Like I said, they already have the audience. They've already built up their platform to where, that they're so big that they're generating hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year. And one of the last videos that they released is that they're saying that they're calling for everybody who was listening to donate $5 to the Fresh and Fit organization, because they're saying that they had 20 people that were working for them. So they had 20 people in their production. And just by looking at their setup there, it's not that elaborate. I mean, you get a MIDI console to where you can plug in some mics, and they've got a table. It's not a very elaborate setup. The most, it's like I'm saying, it's like they didn't put that much money into their setup, so it was just like, where was all that money going? If you're making $1 million or more on YouTube a year, what was that? Were they spending that money left and right? They weren't saving anything. I mean, I guess their Bentleys as a testimony to they were spending their money, but how much were they putting back? The fact they have 20 people working for them, production. So I mean that they're working for them full time, and that they're, depending on Fresh and Fit, for their livelihood. But something's just not adding up, because I mean, I know if I had made a couple $1 million on YouTube, I would have bought a bond, a 10-year bond. Was it 5% right now? Was it 5% of $1 million is 50 grand? I could live on that, and they wanted to go out and live that Miami lifestyle to where I don't know how much a Bentley cost, but over $100,000. I mean, if a Chevy Silverado is 70, a brand new Chevy Silverado is 70 grand, how much does a Bentley cost? So, I mean, it's over 100 grand, and they all were driving, 3 or 4 of them, and to where that they weren't spending their money wisely or investing it. And so this might have really hurt them, that maybe they were in a lot of debt trying to keep up with the Joneses down there in Miami, because that's on another level here, from where I am, small town USA, compared to down in Miami, trying to live up this prestige of, Howard Stern, Young Bucks down in Miami, and bringing all of these party girls on there, trying to impress them, and to portray that perception of them being fresh, successful. I mean, this is kind of a wake-up call. Even for small fish like me, because I've already gotten one, and I'm learning, going through my video process, and my videos will get better. So I'd like for you to please like and subscribe, hit that like button and subscribe. And even though I'm still learning, and I'm still this is the software that I'm using is a software called OBS, and so I'm learning new skills, setting up this software. I've got it kind of set up in a news platform here. So I'm kind of like the producer and the the creator and the talent. As good as that is, I'm like I said, I'm a work in progress here. I'm trying to get better, but it's fun and I'm learning. And these guys, Fresh and Fit, blew up to where they're one of the most popular talk shows on YouTube. When the manosphere red pill content kind of format, like I said, Howard Stern style. But with me just doing videos really consistently for about a month now, I've already gotten a copyright strike. And so it's 3 strikes and you're out. And what I did on that was I put a clip of Tom Cruise's new Mission Impossible movie, and I put that clip on as a short, and within a couple hours I got a copyright strike. And so I was going to do a commentary on that, but I'm getting to realize that you can't really show too much of their videos. You just show maybe a still or a picture and talk about them, fair use or whatnot. But it's a fine line, and you learn as you go. And like I said, other successful content creators on YouTube, they've been demonetized multiple times. And what they have to do is that they just they tweak the name of their channel a little bit, but people will recognize them instantly, and because they've been so successful and they're YouTube famous, that they can build their audience back within a week or so. So that wouldn't be the issue for Fresh and Fit. The issue would be is that if YouTube allows them back onto the platform. Apparently during the Trump administration, there was a lot of conservative talk show YouTubers that were doing podcasts that YouTube felt didn't represent them, and they didn't want them on YouTube anymore, so they kicked them out completely and didn't allow them back, to where they have had to go to other streaming sites, other places. I'm not sure the names of some other streaming sites like YouTube, but they're out there. That's where they had to go to commentary on there. It was way extreme, political viewpoints. But that happened to a lot of people in Fresh and Fit, even though that they're not that same political topic, that their commentary might have been so racy and edgy that YouTube might have pulled the plug. Kind of similar to Andrew Tate, even though there's tons of Andrew Tate videos still out there. But I've read that he was, they tried to, what he calls the Matrix or whatever, was out to get him, and they cut off his social media or whatnot. And like I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable person on Fresh and Fit, or Andrew Tate for that matter. But it is a wake-up call for all of YouTube to, that they're, we need to have, even though it's a thin line, that they, need to have some type of ethics and, some respect, some common decency with, you know, even though the line has been habitually crossed over and over and over again, and especially in, you know, the free speech movement, you know, pushing the envelope, that, you know, they're free to go and broadcast somewhere else, but YouTube was like, well, just, you know, the content that you're creating was pushing the envelope so much that, you know, we can't have you here at this point. But I think they're gonna let them back, that they're just kind of, you know, letting them know what's up. And the whole YouTube world is paying attention, because if they can get demonetized, anybody can get demonetized. Like I said, YouTube doesn't need Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit needs YouTube. And, you know, that we all can learn from this. That, and then we'll see, once Fresh and Fit gets their channel back up and running again, how their show might be a little bit different. You know, how that they might talk to their guests, might be a little bit more polite. But it just goes to show that it could happen to anybody, even somebody who's making millions of dollars a year on YouTube. So it's something that we all can learn from, and moving forward as the YouTube community, that it'll make, this could be a wake-up call to make YouTube better. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So I might do another video on this once they get reinstated back into on the YouTube platform. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. I sure would appreciate it. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. And like I said, their budget, they had 20 people on their budget. And, you know, it's like their setup is not that nice. I mean, it's nicer than mine. I mean, I'm just broadcasting here from my living room in my apartment. You know, it's not, it's not glamorous. The most glamorous, I'll tell you, the most glamorous setup I've seen for a YouTube podcast is Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert, I forget the name of his show, but, you know, he's an NBA player. I mean, golly, he probably has $50 million. You know, he probably made more than that in the NBA. I mean, he played in the NBA for over 10 years. So, I mean, golly, he probably has maybe over $100 million, but he has an incredible studio. Gilbert Arenas probably has the best, for a YouTube channel, he has the best studio I've ever seen. Gil's Arena, I think that's the name of his show. But Gil had money from the NBA, way more money than basically everybody on YouTube, except for maybe Mr. Beast. These guys, however, were millionaires, and they had more followers than Gilbert Arenas, but their setup isn't all that lavish. So, I mean, what were they doing with all that money? I mean, they're spending it on billions of dollars. And not a good, they should have had a financial advisor. They should have gone down to Edward Jones or something. But, I mean, hey, you know, you're making $1 million on YouTube, go buy a bond. That's my advice. Anybody out there listening? You know, that's what I'm going to do. If I ever hit a lick on YouTube, which, you know, I keep grinding, God willing, you know, I hit a lick, get a bond, 5% bond. I mean, these guys were, for several years, making $1 million or more. They were buying everything, thinking that money was going to keep flowing, keep coming in. And now that it's not, that they might be, what is that commercial, that old commercial, that guy's riding his lawnmower. He's like, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. And he's like, to where, I mean, you're not making those payments. You're dependent on YouTube for your, it's inexcusable if you're making $1 million a year off of YouTube and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Right? Am I right on that? I mean, I might be wrong. Money management is, I think, the biggest issue here with them, that they're messed up about it. Because their last video, that they're getting teary-eyed and they're begging their people listening to donate $5. And it's like, what? Maybe they weren't so fresh and fit after all, monetarily. So put away that money in the bank for a rainy day. Just don't go out and spend it on Bentleys. And I saw another YouTube video about a content creator. I forget his name. It's just you watch so many YouTube videos that you forget the people's names, but you remember the video if it resonated with you. And this guy, he only has like 4,000 subscribers, and he created a website, and he does other streaming and content creation from his own website. And he convinced his followers to go over to his website and donate him $10 a month. So think about that. You can get, that he got 4,000 subscribers to go from YouTube. He took them from he built up his platform on YouTube. And then he started his own website, and people are giving him 40,000 people or 4,000 people are giving him $10 a month. I mean, that's $40,000 a month. So I mean, and Fresh and Fit had millions of subscribers. And I don't know if they had their own website. I'm not sure if they had their own separate, because I've noticed this, as Coach Greg Adams does this too, that he'll do a show on YouTube, and then he'll be like, hop over to this other platform. He goes onto his other website, and I don't go over there. I'm not, it's another channel, another website, another location to where he does other commentary, things of that nature. I don't know if Fresh and Fit was doing that, but if they had 1 million subscribers, over 1 million, and they did that on their channel, hey, come over to this other channel. You donate $10 a month and get full access to the top secret stuff, or whatever that is. They should have done that. If this guy who's, even though this guy that I'm talking about, he had 4,000 subscribers, and how he funnels them to his other site to where they pay a $10 a month subscription. He's relatively a small fish, but yet he's generating a lot of money for himself. And he obviously must be creating really good content, because otherwise people wouldn't be, subscribing $10 a month. It's just interesting the different ways that you can make money on YouTube, and how Fresh and Fit made a ton of money just off of their YouTube channel. But they apparently were not very wise in how they maintained, saved, and invested, spent that money. They burnt through it, apparently, trying to, portray a Tony Montana Miami party lifestyle. And, YouTube cut them off. And just for them being cut off from a couple days, they're begging to get back onto YouTube. So this could be a lesson. Who am I talking to out there? Could be a lesson for every YouTube creator to learn from Fresh and Fit, and to, if you do hit a lick like Fresh and Fit did, to not just go out and buy a Bentley and hire a 20-man production crew when your setup is really not that lavish and doesn't need it. And were they paying money for all these women to appear on their shows, for guest appearances? I don't know. But money management is key. And I feel sorry for these guys. I don't wish anybody to get demonetized or taken off of YouTube. That would hurt my feelings. And a lot of people on YouTube are posting videos. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this from a YouTube channel. Like I said, that's why I'm posting on this. Normally I'm posting on news or religion, or I do comedy shorts where I kind of like Conan O'Brien, Triumph the Dog, little 30-second clips, for comedy clips. I post on a variety of topics, as far as I don't really have a niche. But Fresh and Fit had their niche, that they were the Howard Stern style kind of raunchy shock jocks. But for them to be making $1 million or more, and it's money mismanagement, and that's something that not just YouTube creators, but for every American or human adult that's paying the bills to learn from, that they're saying when it rains it pours, and it's kind of for Fresh and Fit. Once they went viral and they got all of their YouTube fame or whatnot, and it was like a flash flood. It rained, it poured. It was like a flash flood to them. For really, all of them should be set up for life. If they they started their channel, I believe 3 or 4 years ago, from what I read. Like I said, if they've made $2-3 million, you can get a 5% back bond. That'd have been $150,000 a year that they'd be getting back, basically for life. That they'd have to get another bond every 10 years, but there you go. That the work that they did in the 3 years that they were on YouTube, building up their brand, building up all of these subscribers, they could have taken the money that they had made and bought that bond to where they technically could be set for life, regardless. But they didn't do that, apparently. They went out and they bought the depreciating asset. If you're not uber rich, you shouldn't be buying a Bentley. A $300,000-$400,000